Welcome in, everybody. Seems like we weren't here, or we were here not too long ago. Sacramento Kings tonight, back to back. Minnesota Timberwolves in town. Kings coming off of a huge win last night against Phoenix Suns. Everything seems to be back on track, but we got who's in, who's out for both teams and Kings fans. Big update to that. The Kings will be looking for a spark off the bench tonight. We'll talk more about that on the other side. I'm Ryan in Sacktown. This is the pregame show on If You Don't Like That.
2, 1, go.
Sacramento miscue. Carter, stolen by Williams. And look at this. Oh, you don't like that. You don't like NBA basketball. Fox, goodbye. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. The exclamation point from De'Aaron Fox. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball.
Boy, that's an ESPN highlight right there. Whoa. Carlson comes in. How about this? Holy moly, Jim Bob Foley. That is a major league smush.
Happy holidays. How is everybody doing on this beautiful Saturday night from Sacramento? Wherever you are at, happy to have you here on If You Don't Like That. I'm Ryan in Sacktown, getting you ready here for the Kings and the Timberwolves. As I mentioned at the top, huge update just reported right now. Malik Monk will not be playing for the Kings tonight. First time in a long time I can remember the Kings without Malik Monk, and what he's been doing for this team this year has been very, very underreported on in terms of his statistics, in terms of just the level his game has taken, and really picked up that bench. The one consistent the Kings bench can't count on. He will not be going for Mike Brown and the Kings tonight. So what's that mean for the bench? Love to get your guys' thoughts on that. On the flip side, Karl-Anthony Towns will be out for the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves have been in Sacramento since last night, so they are well rested. The Timberwolves top team in the Western Conference at 21-6. So if you remember the Kings, one of the biggest wins of the season this year came on Minnesota's home court, where the Kings knocked off the Timberwolves. That Minnesota to be wanting a little bit of retribution for that loss. Anyways, let's get to some of your messages. Sports Freak, where were you last show? Where were you? You usually kick things off, man. Happy to have you tonight, though. So Kingsley need to bring it. Inner Big Dog needs to win this game over Timberwolves. Yeah. Name calling. The new nickname at halftime. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Jerry is good for one of those just about every show, which is a good reminder. Jerry Reynolds will be here right here at the half, breaking things down. We'll be talking about the first half, hopefully a good half for the Kings. We'll talk about their back-to-back record this season so far, and something to really keep your eye on tonight is how this game's going to start, and the numbers will show us why. We went over that a little bit on the post-game show last night, and it's something that Grant and I agree. The Kings need to find a new ingredient. They need to put something into the mix. They do not have the ingredients to meet the expectations that, by many accounts, these expectations have moved, right? Last year, we talked about it, that they just wanted to make the playoffs. Well, guess what? This year, the goalpost has moved. They want to win a playoff series. They want to go further. So in order to do that, they've got to add something. Now, if that's a big piece, small piece, who knows? But the game tonight with Minnesota, getting back to Sports Freak's point, it's one of those ones that until the Kings show us they're able to play on back-to-backs, you got to be a little skeptical. And the reason that I bring that up, and I want to throw this graphic up again, I know we touched on it last night. So check this out. The Kings this season on 0 days rest right there. Look at the dramatic drop that you see just pretty much across the board, but specifically in 3-point shooting and field goal percentage. Now, granted, the Kings have not played a number of back-to-backs this season. I believe this is the fourth tonight. Yes, it is the fourth. So is this going to be the turning point for this Kings team? Is it going to be different because they're on their home court? Is it going to be different because Karl-Anthony Towns is unavailable for the Timberwolves tonight? That really means there's going to be more spacing and more playmaking ability for Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards had a quiet game the first game in Minnesota, but he's one of those guys that if he sees that ball go through the net, it may be a long night for Sacramento, especially if that shot starts falling early on. So something to think about and really consider as the Kings go into tonight against Minnesota again, back to back. Minnesota is rested. Kings coming off the win last night against the Phoenix Suns. Back to your messages, and I hope everybody is having, again, a wonderful holiday season. Thank you for joining us right here on If You Don't Like That. And I want to thank all of you specifically who tuned in last night. We had over 20,000 viewers between our different programs throughout the night for the Phoenix game. So thank you for making this channel what it is. We really appreciate it. So checking in. Hello, Carl. What is up? Lights. Damn. Yeah. No Monk is going to be a hit for this team. You think about just the instant offense that he brings to the Kings, and he's one of two guys. Think about that. One of two guys that can get that separation, that can create their own shot. So to not have him, yeah, it's going to be an adjustment, and it's going to be one of those adjustments the Kings have not dealt with this year. Think about it again. Malik has not missed much time, if any time. So hopefully the Kings can figure something else out, whether that means you're getting more minutes from a Davion Mitchell, whether that means Keon Ellis gets boosted minutes tonight. They're going to have to do something. Do you throw Sasha in the mix there? Because this is a team in Minnesota that they don't play well from behind. So if the Kings can maintain that spark with somebody else, it'll be a good thing. And then also think about the minutes Malik Monk plays with De'Aaron Fox. Coach Brown has made a point this season to put those two on the court together, specifically or right around the end of the first quarter. And then you get it sometimes third quarter on, depending on the unit that's working out for Mike at the time. So this is the issue that they're in. So does it affect De'Aaron? Possibly, maybe not. De'Aaron's an all-star. We will see. So, yep. You froze for a sec. I am sorry. And thank you for the heads up on that. We will, we will get our best IT people to work on that problem. Let me know if it happens again. I would appreciate it. Hello. Let's see. Carf, what's up, my man? Let's go Kings. Yes, indeed. We've got this big back-to-back win. I feel we need to win this one just from the mental aspect, certainly. And it's bigger than the mental aspect. It's also the fact that the Kings want to go into the holiday break, which a couple games, but it makes a difference. They want to go into the holiday break with a 5-1 homestand. Think about what Grant and I and even Jerry talked about leading into this homestand. We said that this homestand as a whole would be a measuring stick for the Kings. And you look at what they've done. They beat the teams that they're supposed to beat. Now, granted, they had a rough go of it against Boston, but I think we all agree Boston is a different class in this NBA. Top one or two teams in the league, and a team that really, it's a team Sacramento wants to be like, not just because they want to win a championship, but just because you have different looks, you have different ways that you can beat teams. And right now the Kings only have one way, and that's the 3-ball. Now, you might be able to throw in a little bit of a defensive argument there, right? Yeah, the Kings have played better defense this year, but has that defense taken away from their offense? That would be my counter. So we talk about also, Carf, the Western Conference. It is log jammed right now. You got Minnesota atop at 21-6. You've got Oklahoma City, who the Kings have beat twice this year at 18-8. You've got Denver at 21-10. They've gone through it a little bit with Jamal Murray out of the lineup. Then you've got our Kings here in fourth. Then you've got New Orleans. I know a lot of people want to say New Orleans. Are they going to be hanging around? Is Zion going to stay healthy? Who knows? But we got to take them for what they are. And as we talked about last night on the postgame show, the Kings are, or I should say the Hornets, or excuse me, the Pelicans are playing good basketball, and the Kings have a very bad matchup when it comes to them. Following them, you got the Clippers, great basketball again. You got Dallas, Houston, and then you've got the Lakers and Phoenix, who this Kings team beat last night. So I agree right here, Mark. We need the A game. So we know this, and I think this first, you got to look at how this team looks right out of the gate. This team won the game in the third quarter last night. This team came out, and it was a methodical, it was a slow first quarter against Phoenix last night, but they grinded through it, and they were able to finish the second quarter strong and then carry that over into the start of the second half to where they really took the game away, took Phoenix's breath away. So that needs to happen right out of the gates tonight. If you see lazy three-pointers, if you see shots short, then you might want to worry a little bit because you don't have Malik as that second option. Again, Malik is out tonight. Jay, what's up, my man? Doing a Patreon support on a monthly basis, or am I just completely? Oh, no, I appreciate that, buddy. We have some different things that we do, but thank you for the idea. We always appreciate your ideas. And especially, we talk about the merch that just came out. If you didn't know, the new merch is out. Go to grantnapier.com, or if you don't like that.com/shop, you can find the merch there. There's a link that will take you to a separate Grant Napier store. We have taken the merch out of our hands this year, handling everything. So hopefully you can give us another shot, but go check it out. It's pretty cool. We've also got some hidden merch in there in terms of the colorways and the color scheme. So got to look really careful. You might find something cool in there. So Kings have something to prove tonight. What do they have to prove, David? What do they have to prove? I would say Minnesota has a little bit more to prove if you look at it more on the macro level. Do they have to prove the Kings that they can play in back-to-back? Certainly. Do they have to prove that they can play without Malik Monk? Yes. I mean, this just dropped about an hour ago, so they knew probably whether or not Malik was going to be able to give it a go. It's a little surprising considering he's played 2 nights on that right foot irritation. For those that did not know, he's played with it the last couple nights. So yeah, they're going to have to prove that, and they're going to have to prove that they can close out a homestand strong. Get the beam warmed up. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I was talking to some folks just a little bit ago, and they saw the beam for the first time last night. They absolutely loved it. So Grant saying Durant isn't a superstar. I disagree. He's arguably having his best year. I don't know if he's having his best year, Jose. I mean, did you see that Suns team last night? There's just some passion missing there. Obviously, Beal not being able to get on the court, that affects things. But Durant looks like he's a step slow. He's still a superstar, and I disagreed with Grant. Don't forget that. I disagreed. We moved off the point, but I disagreed. So I'm with you to a degree, or I get it. But what I'm trying to say is Durant's still a superstar. That's all there is to it. He's a step slower since that injury, but the big Achilles injury that took him out. That being said, it's Durant. You guys would take him on the Kings, wouldn't you? I think you probably would. David, let's see. Ryan, if the Kings offense starts strong tonight, should Kessler Edwards get some minutes for some added defense? Good question. Kessler matched up pretty well with Anthony Edwards last year. Or no, he was not. No, at the end of the season, I believe. I could be wrong. Minnesota came to Sacramento towards the end of the year, and Kessler was right in that midst of 3 or 4 games where he was getting run. So, I think you might see some Kessler for defensive matchups. And Kessler's a little bit longer. And you want to, this Minnesota team, again, without Towns tonight, in particular, they have a tough time playing from behind, and they've been known to squander a lead or two this year. So yeah, Kessler, I think some minutes are probably in his future. Colby is talking about Colby Jones. Colby is good, but a project like Keon was, I think that means Davion time. But I'm hoping to see some Edwards. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're going to see a little bit of everything tonight. Jay, what's up? Consider it done. I'll grab something. Thanks, man. Go check it out. Give us your feedback. Malik is out due to that right foot irritation that has been hindering him the last couple of games. He has been questionable on the injury report the last 2 games, but he ultimately gave it a go. So he will take the night off tonight. What's up, Zakara? I think we can withstand a game without Monk. I agree with you, Zakara. Maybe we can get 30 from Murray, 23 from Herter, 6 to 8 from Duarte. Yeah, no doubt. And see, that's the balance you need from this Kings team. The win in Minnesota earlier this season, they were extremely balanced. Harrison Barnes had a great game. They were moving the ball around. It seemed like the 3 ball was not going up unless that ball touched the paint first. And that means that everybody is getting into the action. So that's exactly what you need to overcome the Timberwolves in a game like this on a back-to-back, especially think about the minutes the starters played last night. Mike Brown left most of the starters in after the game was probably, I would say, out of hand. I mean, you worry about Phoenix a little bit coming back, but at the same time, when you're in a situation with the number 1 team in the West coming into your building rested the next night, you got to get those guys out and trust your bench players. So you got to know that they're going to have frequent rotations tonight. Mike Brown likely will be quicker with the rotations. So we will see. That's all coming up here in a few minutes. Kings-Timberwolves. Bro, how are you feeling about the upcoming road game stretch? What's up, bro? What's up, bro? Feeling good about the road game stretch. It depends on how this ends tonight. If the Kings go 5-1 on this road trip, or on this homestand, excuse me, bro, then I think that they'll roll in with some momentum. And think about it, the road has still been a strong suit for this team this season. So for whatever reason, the Kings like the road. Who knows what the reason is, but they do. And until they start losing on the road, I am not going to question it. How come Slauson never plays? What's up, Tag? Slauson is a 2-way player, number 1. And he is a big project. He was a late mid-second round draft pick. So he's going to take some time. The fact that you see Colby getting some run this year, particularly in the early stages of the season, and that's because he was projected to be more of a first round pick. The Kings were able to get him because he fell, and they've been putting a lot of attention into Colby, trying to get him the best of both worlds between Sacramento and Stockton. And right now the Kings don't need him. That's the other thing. The Stockton Kings likely need him more. Mike Brown's not playing all the guys that they have on the bench. If they thought Slauson is a viable option or would be a viable option, they wouldn't have brought in Juan Toscano Anderson. So that's how it rolls sometimes. So again, thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Kings and Timberwolves getting ready to tip off at 7 o'clock at the Golden One Center. Don't forget Jerry Reynolds right here at halftime, live and on video. I think Jerry's got the audio all worked out from last night, so that should not be a problem. And as Jerry said, and some of you have already pointed out, the Timber Puppies, as he glossed them, are rolling into Sacramento here tonight on this beautiful December night in Sacktown. Speaking of Sacktown, if you have not been to Bennett's Westside Grill, you are missing out. Bennett's Westside Grill, located in the Blue Oaks Town Center. Go check them out. They are just Brian Bennett, one of the best restaurateurs that we have ever worked with here on If You Don't Like That. Huge Kings fan too, not to mention. But Bennett's, they got just about anything you can think of. They've got prime cuts of steak, excellent seafood, and a menu that accommodates just about anybody. And don't forget all about their different specials, whether it's prime rib on the weekends or you're a mimosa person. You get your mimosas with brunch at Bennett's. on the weekends. And then also they've got some great happy hour specials during the week. You can go check those out at bennettsrestaurants.com. And also Bennett's has locations in Roseville and off of Howe and Fair Oaks. If that's a little bit more convenient for you, tell them Grant and Ryan sent you. And by the way, for those that did not know, just a couple of nights ago, we had a fan write in that they actually traveled 2,600 miles to go to Bennett's. And they wrote a beautiful email to Brian Bennett, which we shared with Brian or Brian shared with us, I should say. And we were really thankful for that. So thank you all for supporting Bennett's, and pretty darn good food too. You can't disagree with me there. So, all right. Let's see. Got a couple more questions here. Zakara, the Kings did not go 7 games above 500 until the January 17th last season. They did that a few days ago. Good improvement. It is good improvement. You're right. But this is a different team, Zakara. Think about this. At this point in the season last year, or even by January 17th last year, I could remember 3, 4, 5 signature moments from the season, whether it was De'Aaron for the game winner in Miami to break the 4-game losing streak to start the season, whether it was Kevin Huerter's 3. I could go on, right? There's these moments, and you see a team growing, right? Well, this season, what have those moments been? When was the last time the Kings were in a close game? They haven't been in a really long time. Think about that. Situational basketball for this team, where you're down 7 with 50 seconds left to go, playing the foul game, trying to get quick shots, managing your timeouts and your challenges properly under pressure. It hasn't happened very much. So sure, their record is better earlier this season. You are correct. But is this team better? I don't know. And that's what's really kind of weird about this Western Conference, because it's a Western Conference where the stars are playing. A lot of these guys, the Kings were the beneficiaries of many nights last season where stars would sit out against them, and the Kings took advantage of that. You got to play the games in front of you. But at the same time, it kind of hindered them when those guys came back towards the end of the season. So what I'm trying to say is the Kings were atop the Western Conference. They're near the top all season last year. This year, they're 4th as we sit today. But this is a better Western Conference. Could that change? Absolutely. Trades, injuries, but I don't know. I just don't think this team has made the same progressions as that team. So, but that is debatable. Give me your thoughts. No Cat tonight, but they didn't have McDaniels last time. Yeah, that is true. No Cat. The Cat thing's interesting because you think back to the last time the Kings and the Timberwolves met up. The Kings shot the leather off of the basketball that night in Minnesota and came out quick. And Minnesota just, they had a ton of turnovers. They could not get out of their own way, and they couldn't really get a stretch of stops against the Kings. So Cat was a part of that in terms of the quick 3-point shooting, the deficit, his minus, he was minus, I believe, like 12 once the second half rolled around. But what I'm trying to say is he spread the floor out a little bit more for Minnesota. So that gives opportunities to other guys. You mentioned McDaniels, Anthony Edwards. I'm going to go back to, he is the type of player this Kings team has a difficulty guarding, especially on the perimeter. I'm going to give you one more name you got to look at. This is a name that often gets passed over on this Minnesota team, and he does more for this Minnesota team, arguably, than some of the stars do, and he does it all behind the scenes. That's Mike Conley. Mike Conley has really held this team together. He doesn't always score a ton every night, but that veteran presence as a point guard. So Conley had a very quiet game the first time around in Minnesota. So it's a different game for sure. It's a much different game, and you factor in the back-to-back. And we've talked until we are blue at the face about this team and their record this season, 0-3 on back-to-back. So we will see what happens. Baki, Dobro Utro, what's up, my man? This was the best NBA night since the beginning of the season. Wow. Baki, that's a big claim. Let's put the cherry on top of the cake. Yes, indeed, Baki. Happy to have you here. Thanks for checking in Serbia. What time is it right now, man? What time is it? You're probably what, 3:34 in the morning? Dude, I appreciate you. I know Grant appreciates you too. So thank you. And we appreciate all you. If you're just tuning in now, this is If You Don't Like That, the pregame show. I am Ryan in Sacktown. Don't forget Jerry Reynolds, Grant here at halftime, breaking down the first half. And then we will have post-game coverage right here on If You Don't Like That. So since Baki said that this has been the best night in the NBA so far, let's get you caught up on the scoreboard. 13.5 since Pleasant's back with Memphis, making a big difference. Detroit right now looking to finally get a win. Not so fast. Down 123-108, 137 left in the fourth quarter. Cleveland 89-76 over Chicago. That one in the fourth. Lakers, OKC, a game the Kings are definitely keeping an eye on right now. Lakers 112-99. San Antonio 68. They are down, 11 points, 79-68 to Dallas. Keeping an eye on that one as well. That's in the third quarter. Portland just underway in the second half. They are down 13 to Golden State. Golden State, they're on a bender. They've won 4 in a row. Don't look now, but they are playing good basketball indeed. We've got Milwaukee winners 130-111 over the New York Knicks, and Boston puts up 145 today. Winners over the Clippers, slowing the Clip show down. We will talk about that later on the postgame show. And Denver over Charlotte 102-95. So that is your NBA scoreboard. Kings and Timberwolves getting ready to tip off in just a few minutes. Appreciate that, Mark. Happy to have you here, by the way. So thank you for the feedback. And again, I want to thank everybody that showed up last night. We had over 20,000 people tuning in to all of the shows combined for the Phoenix Suns. So thank you so much for that. Hopefully you can join us back tonight for halftime and the post-game show as we get ready to send you out to the game. What's up, Paul? That's right. You are at the game, buddy. I hope that you have a great time. Enjoy the game. Root that team on. The best night because all of the games was awesome. In crazy action all around the league. There you go, Baki. Lights, what's up, my man? Might want to pull out the It hat. Laugh out loud. Yeah, it got it. And then Mega, what's up, Mega? Kings were -3 and now -2.5. I hope Kings don't bring only 105 points back-to-back fashion. Yeah, exactly, Mega. We talked about that before. I'm going to throw that up before we get out of here really quick. And just something to think about. I mean, I don't know the Kings really can do any worse than they've done in their first 3 back-to-back games this season, but there's the numbers for you right there. You worry about the 3-point shooting. Look at that. That is not going to cut it for a team that lives off of the 3-pointer, 27.6%. And then you look at the consistency amongst 3-point shooting beyond that. The next lowest percentage is with 3 days rest at 34.9%, but everything else is right around that 37 to 41-ish. That's right about where the average would be, where the Kings sit really for the season. So, and then points scored, the Kings are not going to hold other teams to 103 points. We know that. They just gave up 130 the other night to Washington. So something to look for tonight. So glad you brought that up. Very good point by you, Mega. I appreciate that. So let's get those stats down. And get you guys off to the game. So if you are at the game, get loud, enjoy it. If you are watching from home, hope that you and your loved ones and friends are having a great holiday season. And we will be right back here at halftime. Join us, Jerry Reynolds, the one and only. We'll see if he has any new nicknames for the Timberwolves tonight, or if his gloss of the Timber Puppies is fair come the end of the first half. Will the Kings be up? We will see. We appreciate you tuning in so much. Like I said, we'll be back at the half, and we have post-game coverage as well. Thanks for tuning in. Go Kings, light the beam. See you at the half.